Welcome to swimming for the rest of your life. By the end of this masterclass, you'll have a better understanding of not only how to swim faster, how to improve your technique, but how to swim for the rest of your life. Now let me tell you something, and I'm gonna be honest. Come a little closer. You're not gonna live forever. And as a matter of fact, as you get older, you're not gonna be able to do a lot of the things that you can do today. Your sight isn't gonna get any better. I already know that my vision is getting worse every single year. Your hearing isn't all of a sudden gonna get better. And doing high impact activities like running are going to be a thing of the past. Now, I'm not telling you these things to scare you. I'm just giving you the reality. This is truth, it's facts. Because the one thing that you can do for the rest of your life is swimming. At the end of the day, swimming is something that you can do from cradle to grave. So whether you just started swimming or you've been doing this for decades, this is the place where you're going to excel and take your swimming to the next level forever. I'm excited to share what I've learned over coaching over 5,000 workouts and nearly 2 decades of swimming myself. The goal of this masterclass is to not only show you a step-by-step guide of what your routine can look like, how to improve your technique, but also what swimming can look like in your life for the next 10, 20, 30, and 50 years. So sit back, get comfy, bookmark this video, share it with a friend, because this masterclass is broken into 10 sections. And if you stick around until the very end, I have a special bonus gift for you. If you're ready, let's dive in. Swimming has amazing health benefits. Whether it's the way it impacts your body, your mind, your mood, and your physique, swimming is something that you can do well past the age of 80, 90, or even 100. Now, if you're 20 years old and you're watching this, you're probably thinking, that's great and all, but I want to swim faster now. Well, to show you how swimming is the fountain of youth and how you can take advantage of it from now to the rest of your life, I want to show you on the whiteboard. So let's head over there. Swimming is the fountain of youth. Now, what does that actually mean? Well, in order to understand that, we have to understand what happens to your body when you swim. And I want to break this apart into 5 different pieces. The first one is you have increased blood flow. I mean, think about it. You're doing physical work. Anytime you go out for a walk or a swim, your heart's going to be pumping and the blood is circulating. The blood is circulating through your lungs. Your heart is activated. It is pumping the blood through your body. And as a result of that, you're gonna have heat produced. Your blood vessels are actually going to dilate. If you imagine anytime you go for a walk or you go for a swim, yes, you do sweat while you swim. And so by understanding what's actually happening to your body on a molecular level, you can really understand why this is the fountain of youth. This happens with all types of physical activity, but especially for swimming. Now that's what we know. We have increased blood flow. We have the body producing heat. Our blood vessels are dilating, and this increases your lung capacity. Basically, as you expand to get that breath, and we know in swimming, it can be so physically demanding that it feels like you're gonna die if you don't breathe. I mean, imagine the difference between running and swimming. When you run, you can breathe the entire time. When you're swimming, you have to be controlled when you take these breaths. So what this does is it actually increases your flexibility of your diaphragm. And this increased flexibility can actually improve your vital lung capacity. And this is going to increase your VO2 max. This is just a way to measure your aerobic capacity. So these are just some of the ways that swimming is impacting your body. So when you think what happens to your body when you swim, all of these things, and the way that swimming impacts your brain is really special. So here's what happens. When you do any type of aerobic activity, especially swimming, you're gonna promote the release of neurotransmitters, serotonin, dopamine, right? We call dopamine the feel-good hormone because you feel good anytime you exercise because this neurotransmitter is being released inside of your brain. And serotonin has been linked to reducing depression and anxiety, and it just makes you feel better. So this is what's happening on a molecular level to your brain. You get the promoted release of these neurotransmitters, serotonin and dopamine. Not only that, but we got to talk about longevity. Now, what is longevity? Longevity can be broken apart in a few different ways, but really we're talking about doing something over an extended period of time. So whether you're 17 years old or 70 years old, you want to figure out how you can build these habits and routines so that way you can swim fast today, tomorrow, and beyond. When we're talking about longevity, really, when it comes down to it, we're talking about mortality. And so, whether you like it or not, we're not gonna be here at some point in time in the future. And the leading cause of death is actually heart disease. Heart disease is the leading cause of death. And if you do aerobic activity and if you swim, you are significantly reducing the likelihood of having some sort of heart disease. Now, we can't live forever. We talk about the fountain of youth as if it's this thing that you can just, go on for thousands of years. And, whether you believe in the afterlife or not is another thing. But in terms of the time we have today here on Earth, it really comes down to how do you reduce your risk of dying so you can keep doing this thing now and into the future. And if you can eliminate one of the leading causes of death just by swimming, you're gonna extend your life that much longer. And we see countless examples of this. There are stories, someone just in Canada broke 3 world records at the age of 99. So not only is this individual swimming back and forth in the pool at age 99, they're getting up on the blocks, they're racing, they're doing stuff, they're going fast, they're breaking records. Incredible. There's another gentleman from Iran, and he was 100 years old at the World Championships. He was a diver, competed at the World Championships, and he's diving off the board, doing all sorts of crazy things. And whether you think that's more or less impressive than swimming, breaking world records at 99, kind of besides the point. But really, it's this idea of longevity, being able to do something today, tomorrow, and beyond. And a lot of what comes from longevity is this swimming journey, because after all, we are on a swimming journey. This is not a destination we're going to, it's done, we check out, we leave. We are doing this because we love it, because we want to improve, we want to be the best version of ourselves, and we have to find the right habits and skills and ways to improve and continue to evolve and grow with the sport, and that is called the swimming journey. And I think of it as seasons of your life, the chapters of your life, kind of like a book, right? If you pick up a book, you've got 10, 20, 30 different chapters. And whether you're in chapter number 1 or chapter 2 or 10 of your swimming journey, and you turn the page, and that's like turning the month on the calendar, right? So as you go through time, you want to think about different ways that you can surround yourself with the right group of people who have a similar vision and mindset, who want to share in this routine. And again, whether you're 17 or 70, you want to think about what chapter in your life are you right now with regard to your swimming journey, and think, how do you position yourself to have the right routines, habits, and surrounding environment so that way you can excel. I have a whole nother section in this masterclass dedicated to the seasons of your life, how often you should swim, what you should do, how you can get better at each of those different phases. But for now, think about swimming as this journey of life. It's longevity. It is the fountain of youth. Did you know that if you can swim 25 meters continuously without stopping or touching the bottom, you're in the top 50% of the population? And if you can swim 5 100s freestyle on the 2-minute interval, you're in the top 1% of the human population. Now, whether you're just floating around in the pool and trying to survive and get to the other end of the pool, or you're in that top 1%, there are 3 universal truths in swimming. And I actually have an entire section in my new book, 101 Ways to Swim Faster, on the 3 universal truths. And I want to share them with you. The first is that water is 800 times more dense than air. And if you've been watching me on social media, you've probably heard this hundreds, if not thousands of times. And that's the reality. Water is this medium that is so thick. When you push through the water, you are fighting the resistance that is 800 times greater than air. And you can see this as a challenge or an opportunity. And you might think bad about yourself and say, why is swimming so difficult? I have to go through the water. If you're a runner or you walk or you do any other activity, you're moving through air. It feels easy. Or you can see this as an opportunity to improve. And when you know that water is 800 times more dense than air, as the first universal truth, it makes way for the second 2 universal truths. But if you lose sight of the fact that swimming is hard, you're moving through water, water is slow. If you had a battle with the water, you're never going to win. I love the quote by Alex Popov, one of the greatest sprinters of all time. You just have to feel one with the water. Let the water help you move. And this is such an important principle that you need to understand, because if you're swimming and you go through it, and maybe you're having a difficult day, maybe your body's fatigued, you feel tired, you don't feel like it, but you lose sight of water is thick, swimming is hard. You have to feel the flow, connect with the water. This is the first universal truth of swimming, and it applies regardless of how fast you are. The water is just as thick, just as dense for a beginner swimmer as the fastest swimmer in the world. Now, the second universal truth is that if you want to swim faster, you have to decrease drag. And we know that water is so dense, so if you don't try and minimize the amount of drag that you have, you're essentially wasting your time. So we'll talk about propulsion next, but it doesn't matter if you're trying to swim faster if you haven't reduced the amount of resistance that you have as you move through the water. Now, later in this masterclass, I'm going to talk about the different technical elements of swimming and freestyle and how that relates back to decreasing drag. But if you don't decrease your drag, then you're not going to be able to swim faster, you're not going to be efficient, and you're going to burn out and not really feel very motivated to continue swimming for the rest of your life. And the third universal truth is that you need to increase propulsion to swim faster. So I already mentioned it. We know water is 800 times more dense than air. Therefore, if you want to swim faster, you have to decrease drag. And then the third step and third universal truth is that you need to increase propulsion if you want to swim faster. So you might be able to narrow your body and reduce your drag and just hover right on top of the water. But you're not going to be very fast, and you're not going to be able to maintain that unless there's a way to create propulsion. And that is the third universal truth of swimming. So now that you have these three universal truths, this is essentially the foundation of everything else that we're going to talk about. And I know on the surface level, pun intended, but this is the foundation. Water is 800 times more dense than air. You have to decrease drag and increase propulsion. Now let's put it all together. Now that you understand the three foundational principles of swimming, these three truths inform how you should swim perfect technique. Now, one of the biggest mistakes I see a lot of people make is they think that if they just get more fit, they're gonna be faster. And this couldn't be further from the truth. When I'm at the pool and I'm watching different people swim, and you have a fast swimmer and a slower swimmer, the biggest difference, every single time, it comes down to technique. So if you want to swim faster and you want to swim faster for life, you need to focus on these 6 things that I'm going to explain to you. And in order to better illustrate what those are, I'm going to see you guys at the whiteboard. All right, let's talk about the foundations of fast swimming. These are the fundamentals that whether you're just getting started or you're an advanced swimmer, you really need to focus on these 6 things if you want to swim fast. Doesn't matter your age, doesn't matter your swimming background, doesn't matter. Here we go. This is the water. Look at this beautiful line right here. Now, the first thing I want to talk about is body position, because body position is the fundamental. We know that water is 800 times more dense than air. I'm gonna write that right here, 800 times. Let's not forget about that. As a result, if we want to swim faster, given these universal truths, we have to really focus on what matters, decreasing drag. That is number one. We decrease drag because water is 800 times more dense than air. So understanding this, let's go ahead and draw a beautiful swimmer here. So that's the swimmer's head, and of course, with a head, you gotta throw a body on there. There's the legs, woo, feet, and there's the other leg. I think that's a leg, there you go. And there's a torso, he's swimming, cool. Arm catching the water, great. Now this is our swimmer. The problem, this swimmer has really low body position, right? Their legs are dragging in the water. So as a result of that, I'm gonna use a different color. We're creating a lot of displacement. That's what's happening right here, right? This amplitude, this depth in the water is our resistance. Remember, water is 800 times more dense than air, so we want to minimize this. Now, the way you improve your body position and swim faster, we want to be high on top of the water like a boat, is simply fixing our head position, right? There's 2 ways. I'm going to show you the trick. This is the easy way. So you might already have good head position, but if you don't, if you notice right here, the head needs to be lower. Right now, this swimmer is looking too far forward. We need to get the eyes looking a little bit more down. Doesn't have to be completely down, but what we need to do is tilt the head, and you want to really press your chest forward and down as if you're swimming downhill. That's really the key in terms of fundamentals here. We want to position the head. So if I draw where the head should be, let me do this in another color. So where the head should be right here. So you can really see the difference there, and the eyes are looking down. As a result, the body position is going to be much more improved, right? That's where the legs are going to be. And so that difference, you can see the difference in amplitude. This is huge. It might not seem like a lot, but this difference right here, that is the advantage you have of swimming in a higher body position, less drag, and it's easier to swim faster. So that's our body position and head position. Now you can still have a great head position and your legs are still dragging through the water. That really comes down to the catch and pull. So I should told you guys there's a secret, a trick to this. It's not just your head position. You can have great head position, but if when you swim, you press your hand down, you're actually just gonna lift your upper body. So a lot of swimmers do this when they're taking the stroke, the arm comes down, it's pressing instead of getting a catch. So this third part here is the catch and pull, entering the water with your fingertips right in front of your shoulder, about 1.5 feet, half a meter in front of your shoulder. And then you reach and you're rotating your body, getting your breath. We'll talk about the breath later. Let's focus on no breath. And then you initiate the catch without pressing your arm down. Because you press your arm down for balance, you're just gonna lift your upper body and it's gonna sink your lower body. It's gonna create a lot of drag and it's gonna be slow. So instead, you wanna think about getting that head position on point. Next, we're talking about the catch and pull. The arm is extended right under the surface, but it's not pushing, it's rolling. You're reaching in front, and then you start to initiate that catch, get that high elbow catch, that early vertical forearm. We call that an EVF. That's what happens when you get a good catch in the water, acronym EVF. Now the next thing we gotta talk about is breathing. All right, so you got a good head position, good body position, we're catching the water. So how do you breathe? How do you make sure you're not disrupting the mechanics? And you gotta make sure it's all connected with the rotation, right? So your fingertips enter the water and you're just rolling onto your side. Then you drop your eyes back down and you catch and then you pull. I know I simplified that. We'll throw some good B-roll on here. But when you're thinking about swimming fast, ideally you're not breathing if you're swimming fast. But if you're swimming and you're training, of course you need to breathe. So when we're talking about technique, you're rolling onto your side, one eye and one ear in the water, making contact. Now, if you're really good and you have good body position and balance, which we'll talk about next, you're just gonna roll onto your side. You should be able to hold this. Now, you don't want to because you're gonna disrupt the momentum you have. You wanna have rotational momentum, but you should be able to be comfortable just kind of holding this, floating, get your breath, and then you rotate the head. Sometimes you can do some drills where it actually makes it easier to use your head to get your breath, finish your breath, so you get your breath and boom, you're all set. After you get your breath, let's talk about kick. How much should you or should you not be kicking? That's really the question. If you're going for swimming forever, if you just want to keep on going, you want to minimize your kick. You want to think about balance rather than kicking. Your kick is really there to support your forward momentum and your rotational momentum. If anything, if you look at my example here, the kick amplitude is too large. If you look at both of these examples, yes, the blue has a better body position. If you look at the kick, that's this red right here. This is the amplitude, meaning the distance from the highest point to the lowest point. On both examples, the amplitude is far too large. That creates a lot of resistance because we know water is 800 times more dense than air. So you really gotta focus on really minimizing your kick. If you're gonna kick, it's short and fast. So if the shorter the distance you're doing, the faster the kick, the more emphasis you should put on the kick. This is a big and slow kick, like the example you see right here, and this is short and fast. Big and slow, short and fast. You want to make sure you're thinking about that when you're swimming, but really don't emphasize the kick, emphasize all the other stuff. If you notice, the order of which I have them written down is the order of importance that you should focus on. We started with body position, and now balance is a little bit more advanced. This is when you sort of have all these fundamentals pretty much figured out, and you're thinking about two forms of balance. One is the balance of the front of the body versus the back of the body. What are the arms doing? What are the legs doing? Making sure they're connected through the core. The other way to think about balance is rotational balance. Remember I mentioned when you breathe, you should be able to float out on your side. That all comes down to balance, your body awareness in the water. We talk about body position, you may as well write body awareness. And that's really, really important when you want to swim fast. Now we talked about a lot of things here, and if you've seen some of these videos that I've done before, you may have seen some of these concepts presented. Just goes to show how important each and every one of them is. We talked about having a good body position. That means swimming really high in the water. Water's slow. We want to swim on top of the water. Talked about head position, how that impacts the entire positioning of the body. We talked about the catch and pull, making sure you have that early vertical forearm, because if you don't pull the water, well, you're not going to go anywhere. Gotta make sure you get that breath, because if you don't breathe, you're not gonna go very long. And of course, the kick is there for support and it's there for balance. So these are just a few different fundamental things you really need to think about every time that you swim. And if you're confused or stuck, just go back to the basics. Doesn't matter how long you've been swimming, doesn't matter how fast you are. It comes down to body position and body awareness, nailing the head position, and working your way up to that pro level, which is really fine-tuning your balance. Now, one of the best ways to actually improve your technique is to actually watch yourself swim. Now, it's one thing, I'm here in the pool and I can show you what to do with your technique, but if you're not able to actually see how you do it, then you're not really gonna get the most out of your full potential. So in order to really illustrate what a few different styles of technique look like and add my commentary of both a moderate swimmer, a really good swimmer, and a not as good swimmer, and show you guys the difference in technique, I wanna head over to the studio to dive in. All right, here we go. Nick is off the wall. This is level 1 of stroke analysis. We're gonna look at 3 different swimmers' different abilities. Right away, you can notice some things that could be immediately improved. If you're watching this video, you probably have a good idea of what's going on here. Let's focus on a few core things. The first one being the head position. Look at the head coming out of the water. We're gonna go ahead and pause it on the breath. You can see right here, this is the body line, right? And this is the water line. This is where the head is. Eyes are looking forward. Instead, we want the head basically right here, eyes looking down. It'll improve the body line. It'll equal less drag. Remember, water is 800 times more dense than air. So we gotta make sure we're swimming efficiently on top of the water. Let's go ahead and watch it again. Not only pay attention to the head position, but also pay attention to the pull. Remember, the water, or the body line, there's this line right here and he's crossing over on every pull. You wanna make sure you're setting up that catch right in front of the shoulder. Otherwise, it's an inefficient stroke. Also pay attention to the kick. The legs are all over the place. A lot of things we can learn from that, but again, that's level 1. It's exaggerated. Let's look at level 2. Now we're looking at level 2. If you notice, this is the same swimmer a year later. Nick has had fantastic improvement. Literally everything is so much better. Let's go ahead and watch it again. Wow, so much improvement here. Good body line, good streamline. Look at that line. Look at the head position. Eyes are looking down. Almost everything is right on point. There's still room to improve, but it's obviously a lot better. Let's pay attention to each element on its own, starting with the head position. Look at the head position. Perfect. Eyes are looking down. Body line is right there. That's great. Now let's look at the catch. Catch. I really like the breath too. We'll talk about that next. But look at the catch. Fingertips are extending. He's reaching into the rotation. That's awesome. I also like on the breath, the eyes are looking right at the side. Body line here could be a little bit improved. You can see that line right there, but it's pretty good, keeping one eye and one ear in the water to get that breath, and then he rotates his head down and he continues. That's great. A little bit of a crossover, if you notice that. Watch him on the stroke pull. He enters the water, a little bit of a crossover, but you can see it right there, right in front of the head, right there on that arm. It's a little bit too much, but overall this is a huge improvement and gives you an idea of what's possible just seeing the progress in one swimmer over a period of a year. I think we're ready for level 3. Now we're looking at level 3, and yes, you guessed it, that is me swimming. Here we are, look at the stroke, eyes looking down, good body position, and we see it in super slow motion from the underwater view to really get a better idea of what's going on. Good head position, good body position, short, fast kick. Actually, my kick is my worst part, easier to improve there. Getting a shorter, faster kick, pointing the toes, smaller amplitude. We'll see it here off the turn. Good streamline, good tight line, dolphin kick. You can notice here, actually, on the catch, I wanna pause at the early vertical forearm. There's the catch right there, and boom. So you can see right there, that's where we're getting set up for the catch, driving those fingertips down because we want to propel the water behind us. We want to pull that water, and the only way you can do that is by initiating, getting that elbow popped up high and getting the fingertips pointing to the bottom. So let's go ahead and watch that right here. There it is. Now I just noticed, looks like my eyes are probably looking a little bit too far forward. I need to drop those eyes just a little bit. It'll improve my body position, because right now, I mean, body position is not terrible, but you know, right now maybe it could be like here, go a little bit faster. Now you notice at the higher level, it's really difficult to improve because you've already optimized a lot of things, and at this point, you're really focusing on these smaller details. The way your fingertips enter the water, what finger is entering the water first, how you're catching the water. But the idea of showing you 3 different levels of swimmers just gives you an idea of what's possible across the spectrum of swimming. And I'm no guru myself. I'm a pretty good swimmer, but if you notice, I called out a few different areas, different things that I can improve on, and I watch myself swim all the time. So if you haven't already watched yourself swim, it's one of the best ways that you can learn. You can also learn by watching other people, seeing my commentary on others. These are all fantastic ways to learn, and you should definitely give it a try. If you grew up swimming, you probably started on a team. And if you ask any 10, 11, or 12-year-old why they swim, it's because their friends swim. They go to the pool, they get dropped off, and it's a community. The coach is telling them what to do, and even if the swimmers don't want to be there half the time and their parents are dragging them to the pool, it's this feeling of camaraderie, and team is what keeps people swimming. Now what happens is, as you get older and as you swim as an adult, you lose this sense of team. Maybe you never had the sense of team. Regardless, when you swim by yourself and you no longer have the coach, this is one of the biggest challenges in swimming. And it's one of the reasons I started my Swim Pro and the Swimming Academy. Have you ever seen someone swim so gracefully on top of the water, effortlessly moving through a medium that is 800 times more dense than air? It looks surreal and it's beautiful to watch. The best swimmers know exactly how to place their hand in the water, how to pull, how to breathe, what workouts to do, how to train out of the water, and how to do it all without injuring themselves. To tell you the truth, the swimmers who have the best technique and who always find a way to swim faster do not follow the generic swimming advice plastered all over the internet. Instead, they do what I'm about to share in this video. I want to show you how to improve your technique, swim faster, and reach your full potential in swimming. This is the secret that only the top swimmers know, and why you might feel you're not getting any faster or seeing the results that you know you're capable of as fast as you'd like. You see, the best swimmers get personal attention from top coaches. They invest in themselves, they put in the work, they have the dedication, and they focus on the right things to improve. A big mistake I see a lot of swimmers make is focusing on what other swimmers are doing. You're not Michael Phelps and you don't swim like Katie Ledecky. We all have different strengths and weaknesses. Our goals are different. Where we started and where we want to go is different, yet we follow the same generic plans and expect different results. The stroke technique feedback I'd give to a 22-year-old female triathlete is completely different to a 37-year-old male trying to PR in the 50 freestyle, and obviously different from a 67-year-old who's trying to lose weight. Not only is the technique and feedback going to be different, but so is the workout plan, the nutrition, the strength and conditioning. All of these things need to be personalized and advised by an expert coach. If you want to level up your swimming, you have to surround yourself with the right people who want to see you succeed. You need a community that's going to support you in reaching your goals. Over the last decade, I've helped thousands of swimmers improve their technique, swim faster, and find success by getting a personalized training program designed to help them reach their full potential. My mission is to help you be the best swimmer possible. It's why I created my Swim Pro, written multiple books, produced thousands of videos, and now this academy. Inside the Swimming Academy, you'll see exclusive course curriculum, an engaging discussion board where you can give and get feedback on your stroke technique, and the opportunity to connect directly with me and other top coaches in weekly group coaching calls.
If you were to go look up a workout, on the internet or whatever, it's really not the same thing when you have someone in your ear telling you.
So a guided workout is probably the most impactful thing because it reduces the anxiety of not knowing what to do in a workout. It holds you accountable by telling you what to do and helping you get through it. And it reduces the stress of trying to figure out what you're supposed to do.
My biggest aha was when I selected a workout, had it on my watch.
Working with a coach, working with someone, giving you kind of a guided workout is very different than swimming on your own.
What are the different sets? What are the reps? What are the strokes? How long? What are your intervals and your rest times?
Consistency, like getting back in the water. I was swimming like 3 days a week. I started 2 different plans, and then I think a lot of that also had to do with I started doing the IM workout and really just giving variation to my strokes and testing different muscles.
It really takes everything out of your hands, and all you have to do is go to the pool and swim.
You can ask questions daily, submit your video for review, and level up the leaderboard to unlock exclusive experiences and perks.
A lot of his stuff I watch to help me in my comedy is the best that I've ever seen when it comes to storytelling. I mean, I wouldn't say it unless it was true. I watch all your stuff.
We'll also be adding new course curriculum and certifications as time goes on. And remember, this is a roadmap community, which means it's only going to get better. And as the community gets better, I'm going to keep raising the prices. And anyone who joins now is going to be locked in at that price for life. Now let me be clear, this academy is not for everyone. If you're not serious about swimming faster, if you don't want to commit and invest in improving yourself, then this is probably not a fit for you. But if you have positive energy, you want to put in the work, and you want to be the best version of yourself, both in and out of the water, then this is the right place for you, and I can't wait to see you on the other side. If you're serious about swimming faster and improving technique, and you're tired of hitting those plateaus, then book a call by clicking on the link below so you can work directly with me and my team to help you reach your goals. The time is now, let's make it happen. Here are 10 things that the best swimmers do regardless of their age. These are 10 things that you need to do if you want to be successful today, tomorrow, and beyond. The first, the fastest swimmers, regardless of age, are extremely consistent in their routine, in their mindset, in everything. Whether it's the time that you get into the pool, the timing of doing the workout, listening to the coach, how you push off the wall, following the intervals, hitting the goal times, using your equipment. It's this consistency and this continuous process to stay with it and stick with it even though you don't feel like it or things are not going your way. That is one of the key traits of fast swimmers at any age. And along with that, it's working hard. You can't be lazy. And the fastest swimmers know how to work hard, they know how to work through adversity, and they can do that consistently. So you have consistency, you have hard work, and you're doing all of that within the context of having clear goals, smart goals, being able to measure your progress and improvements, being able to stack that over time. So having clear goals, working hard consistently, those are the top 3 things, and these are some of the most important just in these top 3 of 10. Now we've got 7 more that are all very important. Another one is taking breaks. This is very counterintuitive, but the best swimmers are taking some period of time off to disconnect, to recharge, to let your body recover. We've seen this with the fastest swimmers in the world, whether it's Michael Phelps or the casual swimmer that you see at the pool who's pretty darn fast. They've taken a break at some point in their swimming journey. It comes down to the chapter of life they're in, but we all do it. Whether you're taking a week off, a year, or a decade, regardless, taking a break is something that all the fast swimmers do at some point in their journey. Also, working with a coach. So going about it by yourself is perfectly fine, and of course it depends on the chapter of your life. But as you progress, having that mentorship, the person to hold you accountable, to keep you motivated, to push you, to teach you, and to inspire you to be your mentor, that is what a great coach can do for you. And along with that, being able to network, not really network like in the business sense, but having a strong network so that way you surround yourself with people who share the same goals, who are also consistent, working hard, and they know when to take the right breaks. So if you don't have this network, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with, whether it's in person or digitally. So if you're not surrounding yourself with people who share your SMART goals, who are gonna work hard, you're not really gonna be fast for very long. Of course, you have to be willing to fail, to try new things. The best swimmers are willing to try a new technique, a different way to approach a workout, a different piece of equipment, a different way to train out of the water, how to take care of their body from a nutrition or sleep or recovery perspective. Being able to try new things and adapt and be flexible, that is what you need to swim fast at any age. And along with that, you have to have a growth mindset. Because if you don't have a growth mindset and you don't want to always be a sponge and learn information, be a student of the sport, well then you're not going to be able to do all the other stuff. You're not going to be able to try new things and fail if you don't have the mindset to do that in the first place. So it's very important you set your mindset straight and you focus on the process, not the end result. Remember, this is a journey. If you're trying to get better for tomorrow, it's probably more than tomorrow. It's beyond that. And so again, if you're swimming for today, tomorrow, and beyond, you have to make sure you're focused on the process, enjoy the journey, and really be a part of something bigger than yourself. It's not about you reaching a certain destination, it's about following the journey and being able to do this on a regular basis, consistently, and working hard. And finally, maybe the most important, you have to enjoy the journey. You have to swim with a smile on your face. Some days, you won't feel like it. But it goes back to what we just talked about earlier, having clear goals, working hard, surrounding yourself with other people who share those goals and are gonna push you. And if you can do all of that with a smile on your face, you're gonna do what the top swimmers do regardless of age. As you get older, swimming starts to take a different look in your life. Think of your life as different chapters. Almost like a book, when you go through the chapters of your life, your routine is gonna change, your goals, motivation, time commitment, financial, all of these things will change. For example, you can imagine chapter 1 is learning how to swim. And whether you learn how to swim at the age of 5 or 55, this is your chapter 1. When you move into chapter 2, let's say chapter 1 you learn how to swim as a kid, chapter 2 is learning all of the strokes, and maybe you're on a swim team. You go through swimming as an age grouper, you go to some competitions. Chapter 3, let's say you compete in university. Swimming takes a whole different level of importance. Now maybe it's a part of your academic career and your school is being paid for because of your swimming. You have all this pressure to succeed, to compete at the highest level. You're chasing best times. You're going after every 100th of a second. You feel the pressure. You have no money. You're in college. It's a rough life, but it's an exciting period of your life as well. Then you move into chapter 4. This is young adulthood, or after this phase of pursuing competitiveness and chasing those hundredths of a second. Now you're a young adult. In chapter 4, you're just trying to figure out what to do next. You're trying to find a new routine. Maybe you're single, maybe you're married, maybe you just had a kid, and you have all of these different changes that are happening in your life. Maybe your physique is starting to change, your eating habits are starting to formulate, and you're trying to figure out what kind of routine you'll have for the rest of your life. Then you move into the next chapter and you found a routine. You're middle-aged, right? You've found a flow in your life. If you have kids, maybe they're getting older, you have a new routine, you're starting to make more money, so you're in a different financial position, but also your experience in life is different. You have more life experience, so you're able to reflect on your purpose and why you swim and your career and what your routine looks like. Then as you get a little bit older, you move into the next chapter. And now if you have kids, maybe they're in college and beyond, they're living their own lives. Maybe you're still working, maybe you're not, but you've taken on a new routine, a new schedule, a new community of friends. And as your friend circle changes, as your routine changes, your goals might change as well. Your ability to swim might also change. The frequency of which you can swim will also change. And as you head into the next chapter, maybe now you've retired and you have some physical limitations, or maybe you're pursuing fitness at a higher level because you have more free time. You have more financial ability to travel the world and swim in exotic places. And as you think about these different chapters, you have a different swimming routine that will work best for you. And no two people are the same. One of the biggest mistakes I see swimmers make is not writing down their goals. If you want to advance not only in swimming, but any aspect of your life, the most successful people write down their goals. And there are both physical and mental benefits of doing this activity. When you're setting SMART goals, it's really important to follow this framework. Now, if you're not familiar, SMART is just an acronym. It stands for specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound. There's even a fancier, more elaborate version that I encourage all of you guys to try, regardless of how you're setting your goals, and that's adding an E and R. We'll get to that in a little bit. But let's first talk about the importance of actually writing goals. There's one thing to talk about achieving something, but when you write down the goal and you physically write it down on paper, like I'm about to do on the whiteboard, or you take notes inside of your phone, if you put pen to paper, you are statistically more likely to achieve that desired outcome. I mean, just think about that for a second. If all you have to do is write it down, it increases the likelihood that you're actually going to attain that. And that's fundamentally what we're trying to do. I remember watching videos of Michael Phelps sharing his goal sheet, and he is remarkable because he hit almost every single time that he would set years in advance at the Olympics, how he would break the world record, how he would split it, how many strokes he would take. They were that specific. Now let's talk about it. Now the wrong way to set a goal would just to be very generic. I call these fluffy goals. A fluffy goal would be something like, I want to swim faster, or I want to lose weight, or I want to make more money. I want a different job. I want a different car. I want. These are all fluffy things. When it comes to goal setting, and this extends beyond swimming and physical fitness, but it's really an exercise in mindset. So if we use the example that's most relevant for what we're talking about speed, how to be a better swimmer. You could say, I want to be a better swimmer. I want to be a faster swimmer. This is very generic and fluffy. How can we apply these principles of setting smart goals so that way we increase our likelihood of achieving it? So let's go ahead and try that. I want to set a specific goal. Well, let's talk about strokes. What stroke, let's be specific. What stroke do I want to swim faster in? Over what distance do I want to swim faster? So let's say freestyle. So we're going to say FR, right? We want to swim faster in freestyle. And I want to swim faster over a 200 meter distance. So I want to swim faster freestyle, 200 meters. You can already see how we're getting a lot more specific just by adding these two components. And we need to make it measurable. So can we measure how fast we swim freestyle in 200 meters? Yes, we can. So when we're setting a goal, we need to set a target that we can measure our progress towards. So in the 200 meter freestyle, let's say our measurable target is 3 minutes. So we want to go 3 minutes in the 200 meter freestyle. Okay, cool. Well, let's make sure it's attainable, because if my current time is 7 minutes and I want to go 3 minutes, maybe that's not attainable. Or maybe my goal, to make it more dramatic, was 1 minute. Is 1 minute an attainable goal? No, it's not attainable for anyone, because that's 40 seconds faster than the world record. So you got to make sure that it is attainable. Is this time, 3 minutes, attainable? If your current time is 3 minutes and 10 seconds, I would say absolutely, or 3:20 or 3:30, whatever, it's absolutely attainable. So check mark, yes, it's attainable. Is it relevant? Do I actually care about how fast I swim 200 meters of freestyle? Because if the answer is no, well, now you're just following someone else's goal. So if you're watching this and you're like, I don't really care how fast I swim freestyle in 200 meters. I care about how fast I swim freestyle in 2,000 meters. Or I don't care about freestyle at all. I just want to swim breaststroke more efficiently, right? So you want to take this concept and apply it to what's most relevant for you. But stick with me on this example. So you want to swim freestyle 200 meters at 3 minutes. It's attainable. Is it relevant to me? Yes, this is my best event, or the thing that I'm focusing on next month or whatever. So let's talk about time bound. I already gave it away a little bit, the next month. So you need to make sure that there's a time horizon, because otherwise I'm gonna be left loose. I'm just gonna be hanging. It's still a fluffy goal, because yes, I wanna improve the 200 meter freestyle and get under 3 minutes. By when? And so you have to set a target. So let's say 3 months from today. And that way we know exactly when our test is going to be, whether it's a test set or you're going to a competition or this is your birthday, whatever the thing is, you want to make sure you're setting yourself up following these goals. Now, here let's take it one step further. Applying the E and the R, so it's smarter. We're getting smarter about our goals. The E is for evaluation and the R is for revising. So let's say 3 months go by and we go 3 minutes and 2 seconds. We need to reevaluate. How did we do? Did we do everything we could to get us there? Well, we fell a little bit short. So maybe this goal is still good, but we need to add something more to it, and that's how we're gonna revise. So let's go ahead and use the same example. We're gonna now revise how we set this goal. Because you know what? We never talked about how are we gonna swim faster? Because if you don't know how to swim faster, if you don't know how to get down to a 3 minute from a 3:10 or a 3:20, well then we don't really have a roadmap for success. So you gotta make sure you think, okay, well, I know what I wanna get better at. I know on what time frame I wanna get better. How am I going to do it? And you need to actually write these things down. That could be the way that you split the race. Maybe you don't know how to do a flip turn, and the smart goal is to learn how to do a flip turn, do it 3 times per week, every single week leading up in these 3 months, and that's how you're gonna do the flip turns, and that's how you're gonna go under 3 minutes. Or you're gonna do a certain number of dolphin kicks off the wall, or a certain breathing pattern. You have to train your mind into what it takes to get there, how you're gonna actually swim that specific thing. And the only way you're gonna get there is by following this roadmap and actually writing it down. Now, I know you're thinking, okay, well, that's cool, but again, I don't wanna swim the 200-meter freestyle. Heck, I don't care how fast I swim at all. How do I set a smart goal around frequency? Well, there it is right there. Your smart goal is swimming 3 times per week for 1,500 meters for the next 5 years, or for the rest of this year. And so maybe that means in the course of a year, 5 years is probably too much. In this year, I wanna swim 100 times. And so you know the time bound is the end of the year. It's very relevant to you because that's what you want, and it's attainable because you already swim 2 times a week. You wanna increase it to 3 times per week. You're gonna be able to measure it. You're using the MySwimPro app. It's very specific. And then at the end of the year, you can evaluate and you can revise. And that SMART goal has nothing to do with how fast you go. So you can see this model is really good because you can adapt it in so many different ways, and it goes well beyond just, I wanna swim faster, I wanna lose weight, I wanna look better, I wanna do whatever. So you wanna be able to control what your goal is, actually have impact on the thing that you're trying to improve. Write it down and you'll make it happen. So after you write your SMART goals, how do you actually go about figuring out what to do when you go to the pool? You have your SMART goal, it's written down, but what workout do you actually do? How many workouts per week should you do? Should you do more sprints, more distance? Should you do more butterfly, more IM, no butterfly, some backstroke? What drills do you do? What equipment do you use? Should you do any training out of the water? And a lot of these questions swimmers have on a daily basis. And like I mentioned earlier, it's one of the main reasons I started MySwimPro, because when you swim on your own, you don't have that community. It can be very, very difficult to figure all these things out. And I'm here to tell you, you don't have to figure these things out. With the power of technology and software and what we've been able to create at MySwimPro, I'm really excited to share with you a few different things that you can apply immediately to your swimming routine if you haven't done so already, to make it that much more enjoyable, stress-free, and you don't have to think about what you do when you go to the pool. So let's talk a little bit more about that. One of the most beneficial things that you can do to improve your swimming is following a specific plan that's personalized to you. So what I have up here is my iPhone, and I'm gonna go ahead and screen record to show you exactly how to get the most out of your time in the water using the MySwimPro app. Whether you're following the workouts of someone else or you're using the app to be your coach, there's so much power in this technology. It's literally mind-blowing. So stay around because this is gonna be really fascinating if you're not already familiar with this app, and the capabilities are gonna blow your mind. So first of all, you can see here I'm on the coach tab, and it really lays out what my next training plan is, and of course I can write my own workouts. But before we get into some of these more advanced features, I wanna show you how you establish your baseline and tell the app what your goals are. So the first time you download the app, you're actually gonna go through an onboarding process where you're gonna input a lot of the things that you see here on my swimming profile. Now the first thing that you're gonna be asked is, how many times per week can you swim? If you notice, for me, I have it set at 3 days. What is my average distance that I like to swim? You can of course change this. I keep it at around 2,000. I'm normally a little bit less than 2,000 actually. And what kind of pool that you swim in? I swim normally today, I'm in a 25-yard pool. The available equipment that you have, so depending on the toys that you get to have in your equipment bag or your pool, and of course what your goal is. Are you trying to swim faster? Are you training all of the strokes for an open water? And you can actually order these based on importance. So I'm trying to keep faster, right? So I'll keep that as number 1. And then if you go down here, you actually have different rest settings. So how much rest do you want between the sets and between set groups? And you can actually change that individually, which is really powerful. I keep it at a 1 minute between set groups and 30 seconds between swim sets. So this is really the default, and it's a great way to keep yourself accountable, give yourself a little bit of rest, but not too much rest. Now you have up here the seed times. This is essentially like your fastest time in the specific event. And the reason why we want this information is because we want to personalize the workouts. When I say we, the app is literally going to use this information and dynamically generate for you a one-of-one workout. It does not exist for anyone else, which is pretty remarkable. So I have in here my best times. Now you can adjust these later, and the intervals on the workouts are going to adjust. The app will also recommend, based on how fast you're swimming, if you should adjust these as well, which is pretty cool that the app will actually be monitoring your performance. Now let's go back to the coach tab, because I want to show you guys what a workout actually looks like. So we have a workout of the day. Every day there's a new workout based on the level and how much distance that you're swimming. So I open up this workout. It has some drills that are going to be used inside of the workout. I can watch those before going for the swim. And then I want to see the workout. It's 2,100 yards. It'll take me 53 minutes to complete. And you can see here, all the different sets are laid out for me. I'm going to do 250s kick, 250s drill. There's the video for the drill that I need to do. And if I get into the main set here, you can see my preset. I have 450s on the 40. My goal time is under 38 seconds, so it's a little bit shorter rest there. And then I have here at the end, I have 350s. You can see descend. These are my goal times actually getting faster, which is pretty darn cool. So you can see I need to go from 38 to 35 to 32. Tells me how much rest I'm expected to get. And then I have my main set here. So a lot of different things going on. If you notice, there's different colors, and those colors represent the effort level. So this color right here, this gold, that's a sprint. This blue, this is a best average, and really explains what the intensity level needs to be. And if you're swimming with a smartwatch, it's actually gonna put all this information right there on the watch, so you don't have to think about anything. And it gives you haptic feedback telling you when to go on the next workout. So you can see here, this is the main set. I can start the workout by either manually logging it if I don't have a smartwatch. I can open this in a PDF. It's gonna export it automatically for me. Or I can send it to my Garmin watch or Apple Watch, or even send it to Training Peaks. So a lot of different ways that you can actually do the workout. And let's say it's not really, it's not cutting it for you. You can actually edit this workout. And by editing the workout, you can actually modify anything about it. So instead of 450s, I want to go 650s. I want to do it kick, and I want a different effort level. I want descend, and I want to wear fins, and boom, I can just save that, and it'll update the workout automatically. I don't actually want to do 650s kick. I think the kick in the warm-up was probably enough, but you get the idea. Now, we're not going to do this explosive leg work. Actually, it makes sense that I made it kick because it's an explosive leg workout. Look at that. So I'm actually going to get out of this. I want to show you what it's like to actually just build a workout from scratch. So let's say I want to do an on-demand workout by the AI swim coach. So I'm actually going to generate a workout using artificial intelligence. We use ChatGPT on the back end. It's going to take in all this information of the universe, and it's going to make something amazing. First question here is, how do you feel today? I can feel average. I can feel pretty low on energy. I feel pretty good. I feel pretty energized and strong. Next, what are you looking for? Dude, I'm looking for speed. Let's go sprint. Next, what strokes do you want to swim? Well, I want to focus on freestyle and breaststroke. Breaststroke's my main stroke. Next, and now what equipment do you have? Let's just stick with fins. I'm going to keep fins, and let's go with fins. Why not? Next, anything else you'd like to add? I would like to swim 450s fast. I don't want to do anything. I don't want to think about the rest of the workout, but I know I want to do 450s fast. And let's get this AI workout. So right now, the app is actually going to generate the workout based on all my inputs, all my attributes. It's not going to give me a workout from the database. It's literally building this workout for me. And there it is. You got the warm up, the sprint set, and you can see it. It gave me everything. I'm going to go 450s freestyle all out with fins. Woo! There are my sprints right there. 100 breaststroke, focusing on technique. 200 warm up. Amazing. And I can go ahead and export this to a PDF, or I can send it to my Apple Watch. Pretty darn cool. Now you can see in my profile, when I do log my workouts, it's actually gonna show here in my history, and I can go ahead. This was how was my last workout? My last workout was great. Always taking the feedback into account. Cool. I'll save that. You can see my last workout. I did 1,600 yards. You can see my heart rate graph. This was on the Apple Watch. And you can actually see the splits were automatically recorded of what I went on every single set, which is pretty darn cool. So you can see here in my warm-up, I went 33, oh, there it is. I went 33, 36, 35, 39, 35, 41. You can see how many strokes I took, even on the main set. I can tap in, and on each set group, I can actually see all the data, how much efficiency I have, and how I'm progressing over time, which is pretty cool. On my performance tab, I can see the different test sets that I've done and see my progress over time. So my favorite is the Need for Speed, where it looks like I did this a number of times. Looks like I'm overdue for a test set. The app has been annoying me about that, so I gotta pick up my stuff. And you can see here on this last effort what I was able to go. So if I go ahead and tap on it, you can see what that workout looked like, what my splits were, and I went a 53 on this 100 inside of this Need for Speed test set. And these test sets, there's a few different ones there, and you can see what I was able to do on each of the different efforts. It looks like I only did the 10 100s set. I only did that once. Yeah, no thank you, don't wanna do that again. But it's amazing to have the coach as your accountability partner and a place to really store all this information. So if you're not really sure where to get started or how to get started, whether you're following a personalized training program designed by the MySwimPro app, or you're writing your own workouts using the workout builder, which is what I do a lot of the times, everything is available right there in the app, and you can really do anything that you want to help you in reaching your goals and ultimately swimming for life. When you talk to people who have been swimming their entire lives, one thing starts to become very clear as to how they've been able to stick with it for so long. And this is something that I only discovered recently. And like I mentioned, I've only been swimming year-round for about 2 decades. I've been swimming for about 25 years, a quarter century, which sounds pretty crazy when I say it out loud. But I'm still learning and I'm still growing. But when I've been able to surround myself with swimmers who've been doing it for twice as long or 3 times as long as I have, it's just this one thing that really comes back time and time again, regardless of how old someone is, whether they're 32, 42, 72, 82. I found that the most consistent element of swimmers who've been doing it their entire life is why they swim. They swim for themselves. They're not swimming for anyone else. They're not doing it to try and please their parents, their siblings, their friends. There are different motivations for sure, and everyone has a different why. And you need to figure out what your why is. But when you peel back the layers and you really dive into the core, everyone who swims for life is doing it for themselves. And it sounds selfish, right? But I want to dissect this a little bit, because there's a difference between acting selfishly and doing something in your own self-interest and swimming for yourself. And you might equate them to be the same, but I really do think they're 2 different things. When you swim for yourself, it is an intrinsic motivation. You are intrinsically pushing yourself to go to the pool when maybe you don't feel like it. And that internal drive is what keeps people swimming for life. And I believe that is the secret. So regardless of what your why is, and your why can change over time. When you're 22, your why might be different than at age 32. It might be different than at age 52. But the underlying core is that you're doing it for yourself. You're doing it for you. It's me time. When you're in the water and you're able to separate yourself from the world, it's just you and the water. And this is so important, because if you don't really know why you're swimming, when the going gets tough or different life circumstances come into play, then you're not going to be able to stick with it, because that intrinsic drive wasn't strong enough. You were relying on external factors to keep you consistent in your swimming routine, in your swimming journey. And we already talked about the chapters of life. And maybe in chapter 3, you have very little distractions, and it's really easy to stick with your intrinsic why and to be motivated, because the routine, it all just kind of falls into place. But then in chapter 4, or whatever chapter it is, something comes up, and that intrinsic drive isn't strong enough in that specific chapter, and that's okay. That's one of the beauties of going on the journey of swimming for life. You have different chapters of your life, and over time, you'll go in and out of different external factors. But you have to remember, what is your why? Why do you swim? And like I said, in different chapters, you'll have different reasons why you swim. But what gets you back in the pool, what keeps you motivated to keep going, is that internal drive. So you need to do a little soul searching. And I don't want to get too philosophical here, but think about your purpose and what you want to achieve in your life. And how does that translate to what you do in the pool or in the sea. If you do it in the open water, that's perfectly fine. And just remember that as you go through these chapters of life, it will change. You will have a different routine. You'll be more consistent or less consistent at different phases, and that's okay. That is the beauty of swimming. So if you want to swim for life, you need to find your why. Find that intrinsic motivation, and then surround yourself with people who share the same goals as you. We talked about setting SMART goals. We talked about the different chapters of your life, and now it's time to surround yourself with the right group of people. Remember, you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with, whether that's physically in real life or digitally in the virtual world. So it's so important that you really build this community and surround yourself of people who share the same passions, interests, and they see themselves moving in the same direction as you. So if you're serious about taking your swimming to the next level and you made it this far in the masterclass, well, first of all, thank you. I really appreciate your time and attention. And my special gift for you is access to our swimming academy. Now, if you go down below the link or wherever it is in this video, you'll be able to sign up at a special rate because we will be increasing the prices. So make sure you sign up today to get access to the full course curriculums that we'll be rolling out, also weekly group coaching calls and video technique analysis whenever you want it. So that way you are progressing to not only swim faster and improve your technique, but to put yourself in a position to swim fast for the rest of your life. We'll also be doing a number of different giveaways and prizes for people who are at the top of the leaderboard. So I really encourage you guys to join the group today at the lower rate and make sure you're engaging with the community because after all, swimming is something that you'll do for the rest of your life.